Welcome to the Wolfkeeper, a show that's just about everything that you can maybe think about, everything that you can feel that's inside of your heart. What I need for you to do right now is spend the next hour relaxing. Just stop your day before you go into 12 o'clock. And I just want y'all to close your minds, open your hearts, and relax and go on this journey with me. It's a beautiful place that you're about to go, because I want to make you feel, I want to just open you up and think about some things you never really thought about. Right now, the Wolfkeeper. Come on. Good morning, y'all. Come on. It's the Wolfkeeper show. Get ready. Come on, let's go. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. It's the Wolfkeeper show. Your boy, Torriano Sanzoni. Yeah. Chanelli Nell. My boy Tyrone Scott somewhere rocking the Doogie Dogs. Denzel's in his house. Shacky Shack. And for all the people out there that love us, we love you back. Thank you all. Get ready for an amazing show with the Wolfkeeper. Get ready. Here we go.
Not as a healing technique, but as a meditation technique. They would have all of these symbols on a wall in front of them. They would sit on a stool. The legs of the stool were in a bucket of water, which water acts as a conduit. They would focus on these symbols during their meditations to help deepen their own practice and their own meditation. And then when the Tibetans were exiled from Tibet, when the monks were exiled from there, these symbols were lost. They had hidden them. And then about in the late 1800s, a person by the name of Mikao Usui, there are several different stories about him. He was from Japan. He had a great deal of interest in the healing arts and wanted to know and learn how Buddha healed. So the story that we were told at first, when I first studied Reiki, was that he was a Christian monk. We came to find out that that is not true. That he was a doctor of Christianity. We came to find out that that was not true. Apparently the story was colored for the people, the American people, to be able to accept these teachings in the form of a Christianity teaching, not in the form of a Buddha teaching. So when we found out what the true story was, that he was actually a sensei or a monk who lived in a monastery, and he began to study these arts, these healing arts. He came across all of these various symbols, which contained a lot of energy, held a lot of energy within them. By practicing these symbols, he found that healings could take place, spontaneous healings could take place. And so he meditated on the top of this mountain in Japan, Mount Koriyama, for 21 days. And at the end of the 21st day, he had his, what we refer to as the first attunement to the Reiki energy. He became enlightened to this energy. He received it. He understood it. He knew how to use it on other people, as well as mostly on himself. And he took that with him, and he trained people. He healed people. And he trained many different people. One of them was this person by the name of Chujiro Hayashi. And he was a doctor who opened a clinic in a hospital in Japan. And through that clinic, he began training students. They had to stay with him for 3 months and use Reiki on the people who came into the clinic. They didn't get paid. They just had to practice Reiki on people. And then he would take the smartest people and the ones who were having the best results and would train them to the second level of Reiki. And now they had to commit to staying with him for 9 months so that they really had absorbed this energy into themselves and were working on all of the patients who came into the clinic. Of those patients, one of them was a woman by the name of Hawayo Takada. She was part Japanese, part Hawaiian, and she was very, very ill. She had a lot of things going on with her, and they didn't know how to help her. She was ready for surgery, and she asked one of the doctors if there was another way that besides surgery that she could be helped, and he referred her to Dr. Hayashi's clinic. She went there, and she had to make a commitment to Hayashi to stay there and be treated for as long as it took for her to heal. She took that and accepted that commitment, and so she was worked on and given Reiki every single day by his students. And the story goes that, you know, at that time in Japan, they wore those kimonos with the big sleeves, and she was looking in their sleeves to see if they had any kind of batteries or heating devices, because their hands were so hot all the time when they would give her Reiki. She would look under the table to see if there was some sort of a battery or something under the table. And finally, it took 4 months, but at the end of 4 months, she was cured. So at that time was the coming of the war, the Second World War, and Dr. Hayashi knew that many of the men would die in that war. So at that time, the women were subservient to the men, but he decided to train his wife into the art of Reiki, and Madame Takada also begged him to teach her. So he did. He trained Madame Takada and his own wife, and Madame Takada took this Reiki training back to Hawaii, where she opened up her own school, and she began having people come into her home, and she trained. She worked on them for healing, and those who were interested in moving forward with learning how to give this technique to other people or to themselves, she decided to train. She died in 1980. The last 10 years of her life she devoted to training a number of people. So she elevated 22 people to be Reiki masters. And of those 22 people, they went all around the world, and the lineage of my school is directly in line from her training one person who wound up in Florida and trained my teacher. So the name of our school is Loving Touch International School of Traditional Reiki. And I've been doing Reiki now since the mid-1990s. Became a Reiki master in 2000, and I've elevated a number of people to be Reiki masters, and I just run Reiki classes or give Reiki sessions to people and do as much as I can with this energy that I believe in. I feel it works for me, and I've had a lot of wonderful results with people I've worked on.
Wow, and just listening to that history lesson, it's so powerful, and the fact that what a special blessing that we're with someone that's that closely connected to the origin of Reiki. Can you give some examples that you've seen in your experience with Reiki, of just unbelievable things that you've seen, the effects of Reiki? Because sometimes people, they don't, they think it's some mumbo jumbo witchcraft.
Yeah.
Real, like there's no way that just putting your hands on someone or thinking about something can change someone's mental, spiritual, physical well-being.
It's pretty amazing. I'll tell you that when I had my first Reiki attunement, which is where I got attuned to the energy, and the Reiki master places these symbols in the crown of your head, so the crown chakra, the third eye, and into the heart chakra. And the energy moves in and comes out through your palms. So it gets transmitted through the palms. From my very first attunement, I felt that this was familiar to me, that I knew it, that I had done this before. I felt that I had come home. So from that day, my palms are always warm. My fingers might be cold, but my palms, there's always a warmth that's coming out from my palms. And when I place my hands on people, they feel that. And I will feel, if they, as they absorb the energy and accept it, I will feel the warmth in my hands getting stronger and hotter. So we work basically through the chakra system. So there are 7 major chakras that run through the subtle anatomy. And by working in that way, we're not manipulating, it's like a laying on of hands. Some people who are Reiki practitioners don't even touch the person, they just let their hands hover above the person. I've had experiences with different people I've worked on. One of my, I remember years back, a yoga student of mine was having back pain, and she was so uncomfortable. So at the end of the class, when we do our relaxation, we do a deep relaxation at the end, I had her lie on her abdomen, and I just placed my hands on her lower back. And at the end of the relaxation, her pain was gone. And from then on, she said she never got that pain back. We became friends, and she actually took Reiki, and she's now a Reiki master because she believed in it and in how it worked. Another person who was coming to me privately for Reiki session because she had a tumor in her breast. So she was going for biopsy. I had given her Reiki, and when she went for her biopsy, the tumor was no longer there.
Wow.
So these are small things, but big to the person. that is dealing with it. Little things that happen in our lives. I've worked on different, somebody who has neck issues, worked on that, and the neck issue is gone. So I also have worked on animals. So I had a little Maltese dog at the time, and I used to work on her if she would get sick. And my cousin, it's a funny story with my cousin, she had also a Maltese dog that was always having accidents, or things were happening to this dog all the time. So she would say, can you send Reiki for my dog? And I would send Reiki energy, and she would bring the dog to the hospital, and the vet would say, this is not looking good. Just take her home, let her rest. And the dog would go trotting out the door and be feeling fine. So I found that they were referred to this dog as having 9 lives, because every time she was she had been hit by a car, she had several different accidents happen to her, and each time she rallied 100%. So I thought that was interesting. The animals are extremely sensitive to the Reiki energy. Extremely.
And I can say I've seen, because I'll do Reiki. I've done Reiki on aggressive dogs and things that, true story too. It was a Doberman that was completely 100% aggressive. They were about to put him down.
Wow.
He bit a child in the face. And I told him, I said that, and this is after I learned about Reiki, and I knew that the power that Reiki had. And we were talking earlier, Judi, when I said this, the testimony I've seen is when you put your hand from the dog, and then when they do that big,
yeah, they just relax.
Think of it like, I'm a Transformer fan, but like when Optimus Prime shuts down, when just like this machine shutting down, it's just that, and that deep exhale, and then you can't even because we're Reiki, so we understand the power of it. But it's awesome when someone else sees it firsthand. Like, what'd you do? Another testimonial, because I want people to understand just the power of it, and how they can contact you and contact someone that is a Reiki to become a part of this phenomenal community. But there was my friend Emily called me up to abstract 2 dogs out of a woman's home, because what she did was she was a I forget the official name, but basically people that had estates but no family members. So she oversaw the trust.
Right.
So a woman that trust she was overseeing had to be rushed to the hospital, and her 2 dogs were left in there. And she's like, can you get these 2 dogs? Because they've been in there for a day. No one can get in because they're going nuts. They're going crazy. But the daughter can't get them. I said, okay, cool. So I was doing something else. So I grabbed my trusty leash, went over there, and then went in there. It was so funny because how they described it, you thought it was 2 pit bulls. It was a little Yorkie and a poodle.
Oh, man, you're kidding.
So I went in, down on the floor, and I just put my hands up like this, and they were sniffing, and they came closer, I can't even make this up. They laid down. I just put my hands on them, put the leash on one, put the leash on another, walked out. And it was outside the door. You'd have thought it was like terrorist negotiation, because like the building manager was there, the other counselor that worked with my friend Emily. There was like 5 people standing outside, and I walked out. Well, when you back up, before I walked in, they were like, well, do you have one of those pole things with the noose through it? I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm good. I'm like, and they were like, how are you going to get them? So I walked in, walked out, and they're like, what'd you do? I'm like, I don't know, scat them. Like, wasn't about to give them a whole seminar. Later on that night, my friend Emily called me, and she said, they wanted to know, how'd you get the dogs out? Like, what do you mean? She's like, no, like, what'd you do, like, to get them out? I'm like, you want me to break down the process of dog training with Reiki and all? Like, I'm like, no, they're just like freaking out that you like tranquilize them. I'm like, that thing.
And that's what it looks like.
That sprinkle, like I went in there, was like, like, but that's one of, I mean, so many, I can think of so many testimonials of Reiki. You and I were talking earlier about how we're you made a profound statement that we're spiritual beings living in a human. And we were, prior to you making that profound statement, we were talking about COVID and how COVID is no joke. COVID is like, I mean, you don't really get it until a family member gets it. Like I've had a family member contracted, and it's super heavy because you don't know what to do. Like literally, like last night, I went to sleep like at 8 o'clock. I slept almost 12 hours. I couldn't even process. But in these days of COVID, when there's so much racism, I swear, is at an all-time high. Chauvinism is at an all-time high. Just like homophobic energy is at an all-time high. Hate towards pretty much every group out there. If you are the hater, you're hating harder than before, and if you are the hated, you're getting hated on more than ever. And then you got good old COVID. You got a Great Depression, this economic breakdown and depression happening right now. How are people supposed to navigate? How are you supposed to be monk-like and spiritual in the midst of one of the most chaotic moments in the history of the world?
Yeah, that's quite a profound question. How do we do that? How do we navigate through that? It's really about belief and faith and trust. And a lot of this is based on fear. And when people are frightened, they react and they get pulled into the drama of what's happening. And their deepest fears will begin to surface. And the more you fear, the more you attract exactly that which you fear. If you can just, and it's easy for me to say because I've been doing it for many, many years, but you have to find your center. You have to find your home deep within your own being and in your heart. Take a deep breath. If you can meditate, or listen to some soft music or something that helps you to take that deep breath as the dogs are able to do and just sigh it out. Just by doing that simple thing will help to calm somebody and will help to relax. But it takes work to really focus in and see yourself in a peaceful place. State of mind, and to say, okay, this is the situation that's existing right now and in our world right now. How can I help others, or how can I, by my example, accomplish helping others to be calmer? And my answer to others is that what I do every day is I meditate. Every day I do a meditation based on healing our planet. I visualize the planet and all the people living on it and what's happening with COVID and seeing everybody healthy and loving one another. And that's what helps me to feel better. That's what helps me when I can put my energy out there and send Reiki out to the planet and to everyone existing on the planet today. This is a challenge. This is people are referring to it as the Great Awakening, this time that's happening on our planet. And I believe it is. And I believe that the way that we deal with it and the way that we accept it and handle it without getting pulled into that drama of anger and fear and hate and all of those things, if we can move it in another direction to loving one another. We all were created by the same creator. So we need to kind of open our hearts and accept and begin to just help one another and feel for one another. So that's what works for me.
And I like what you said, that and acknowledging that it's easy for you to say because you've been doing this for so long and you live in it. This is your profession. Same with me. I mean, I live in it. I'm around dogs every day, not last 19 years. So if I'm not calm, someone gets bit, and it's normally me.
Yeah. And that's not good.
Dogs will let you know if you're not right. So by default, beyond popular belief, I have to stay to a certain level of calm, even though sometimes I fail at that. But it's been even more challenging. I'm just giving you a real life scenario. June 13th, where we had peaceful protest walk, and I'm sitting there with young people. I call them young because they could be my children, 20-year-olds that wanted to initiate this walk, and they were confronted by my neighbors on my block. Just screamed get the fuck out of our neighborhood, get you nigger, you movie, go back to Inglewood. And I was shocked myself that I was as calm as I was. But some of the people that were there weren't as calm. And maybe 3 weeks later, I found out that my ex-girlfriend, who lives in the neighborhood too, who's white, those same people attacked her for standing up for. She said, "Hey, I saw what you guys were doing. Like, that wasn't cool. And you're adults and you're screaming at kids. They're like, fuck you. You get the fuck out the neighborhood too, you nigger." Look, just like so. And this is a white woman. Not that it should matter, but nevertheless, everyone that was there that day, whenever they see me or something else comes up, I have people that are still upset about that day. My best friend who was there, which one of the people I had to restrain, was still upset with me for at least, she didn't talk to me for like 3 weeks. She's like, "I can't believe you didn't stand up for us," and da da da. Like, you're trying to be calm and all your calm bullshit, and they're screaming.
Yeah.
What's your suggestion in real life time? Because you're a New Yorker. I mean, how we're Chicago, and New York and Chicago can get crazy at any moment in time. It can go down. So what's your advice for that person that's at that gas station, that's at that park, that's with that police officer at any moment in time when it's real time and you're being screamed at some of the most hurtful, hateful things that a person could imagine? What do you do?
That's a hard question to answer for me. What?
I'm putting all the pressure on you. What do we do?
You are. I mean, I have never been in that kind of a situation. So do I know? Can I say how I would react? I don't know. I really don't know, because when your back is up against a wall, your sense is to react. I would like to think that, knowing what I know and believing what I believe, that just by staying calm, perhaps the situation could diffuse itself. Do I know if that would happen? I don't know. Maybe they would throw a rock at me. I don't really know. But I just can't accept that I could be in that kind of a situation and get pulled into that drama. I mean, I probably would get frightened. How would I react? I honestly can't say. I can't answer that. All I can say is that I'd be praying a lot. I would have one hand over my solar plexus and one hand over my heart to protect those major chakras from having to absorb that anger. And I would really just try to send love to that person who's attacking me. I mean, I've been in situations where people have attacked me, certainly not in a violent way, but verbally, and I just try to stay calm with it. And sometimes I lose it and react. And sometimes I just can walk away from it and stay centered and within my own center. Hard one to answer, Toriano.
Oh, and then too, I think we should always remember and keep mindful to not take those things personally,
Exactly.
even though they're addressed to you.
Mhm.
Sometimes, like, people just never people internalize what they're going through, how they take it, how it affects, other people that's around them. But yeah, I mean, I've never really been in huge conflicts like that. I've been called out of my name several times. And it's just like, you don't know me well enough to even define who I am, So I can't take it personally.
And sometimes when you,
Yeah, I'm sorry that you feel that way. And, like you say, just, you have to channel I'm sorry, your own energy to the point where you can't allow other people to dictate how, you feel. And I know sometimes it's easier said than done, but you have to protect your energy, protect, how people look at you, what they say about you, and because you never know what they're dealing with or how they might try to dim your light so they can shine even brighter,
Yeah, you're right. I agree with you.
Well, and two, I would add, I love hearing other people's perspective on it. I mean, a thing that because I deal with it, being a black male in Chicago, I deal with it more often rather than not, probably at least twice a week, something where this is not going right, where I have to really, like, be the bigger person. And the thing that I found is that you actually have to run yourself through super tough scenarios and practice them. Like, okay, I'm going into a situation and this is completely, I mean, even like right now, my neighbors are completely hostile. I have a bullet hole through my window that, someone tried shooting at us. And I see these people. So until I move, I have to be really I have to practice. Actually, when I heard that they screamed at my good friend, my ex-girlfriend Kelly, and her 9-month-old baby was with her, that was kind of like the final straw. I mean, where I have to, like, actually, and one of the guy that she told me that did it, I have to, like, actually run scenarios through my head of being calm if I do run into him. Because that's the thing I think with we kind of like to assume that we're not going to be confronted with confrontational things. And if we just assume that, then when they happen, it's kind of like we don't know how they're going to go. Or if you're living in a world where you're just not around confrontational things, sometimes that's super dangerous too, because if it happens, then you completely are caught off guard. But, I think you have to run confrontational drills. I know you do, because as I said on yesterday's show, my mentor, my self-defense mentor, John Farnham, who's one of the best self-defense trainers in the world, proven. He travels the whole world teaching people self-defense. We do a simple task of conflict and avoiding situations of people saying no, not acceptable. And that's just you and I practicing, me walking up to you right in your face and saying, tell me what time it is. And you feeling confident saying no and walking away. Because that's a lot of times people, it's just about saying no and walk away versus sitting there and engaging with someone that's screaming with you. But I would say that's an actual thing a person can practice. Just you all are in the house taking turns right up in each other's face. Hey, tell me what time it is. No. And then walk away, and then they take, sometimes it starts as simple as that, because some people, they already know that they want to cause that conflict and want you to engage with them. Today, the world is too dangerous to let it be hit or miss if how you're going to react. But Judi,
and sometimes people just want to get a reaction out of you.
Exactly,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right.
Do I give him that? Do I give them that energy? Do I give them the authority to dictate my mood or to control how I'm feeling right now? So it's like, even though they want you to feel this way, like, let me give you the opposite. You want me to act a fool? I'm not giving you that today. Like, you're not even worth that. I can put that towards something else. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's like, why do people, it's so simple, but it's like, why do people hate? You know, love is so much easier to do.
I know. You're right.
Judi, which made me think of something. Pearl Harbor, which was just one of the most atrocious, like, atrocities known to man. Like, it's, when you look at the history of it and you just listen to the rhetoric that America had, like, we had to do this in order to prevent all these killings and protect. That was the best decision, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, and for Reiki and Buddhism to come from Japan, would you, if you had to guess, based upon your history and studies, were they able to still maintain that level of peace, the monks, during that time period?
The monks, they practice their meditations so much, they live it. And the whole thing is about practicing ahimsa, and ahimsa is nonviolence, you know, and they will continue to practice that and live by that. From what I know of monks and the history of Buddhism and Buddhists, there's gonna, you know, life is filled with pain. Life is filled with heartache. Life is filled with tragedy. How do you overcome all of those things? You know, and by practicing ahimsa and nonviolence and staying centered and within yourself and within your heart, it helps you and helps you to have the strength to move forward in a world that's filled with so much sadness and so much anger and heartache, etc. So not an easy thing to do, especially, I mean, look at the Tibetan monks who had to be exiled from their own home, from their own country, you know, that they had to do that. Many of them live in India now. So
it's interesting when you think about that too, just some of the big things that we're going to be confronted with even coming up. You know, like right now, there's a lot of single parents that I want to send a shout out to every single mom out there specifically, that because Chicago has already announced 2 weeks ago that classes will be all virtual. So there's a lot of people that are already super tense about what do you do for childcare, you know, because now your child's going to be at home, you know, on a computer, having to ask you questions as the parent, you know, so that anxiety is coming. Then you got the anniversary of 9/11, which right now the riots, looting in Chicago is so sporadic. You don't know if on any of those particular days back to school, which now is, you know, historically a big deal everywhere, but especially in Chicago, I think we really, you know, celebrate back to school as a big deal. And, you know, with now back to school being so close to 9/11 and the election that's coming up, what is like some actual, is there something you can leave us with as far as something that a person can actually do, you know, for like a little, I know you and I kind of, and by the way, your voices, I'm getting all these responses of everyone saying that her voice is so calming. So I think you just made everyone's. I think you have everyone super relaxed. So other than calling you up and listening to
you right now, who's listening, right?
Everyone's all chill. I'm chill. I can listen to your voice all day. Other than calling you up and stalking your voice, what are some things the person can do to maybe, when the single moms out there, when they're frustrated, you know, on that day of like the kid, I just can't, because I can't imagine being tutored to my child. I'm not into teaching. I can teach a puppy. Like I tell people, I'm a dog trainer. You're not, hire me. I'm not into teaching kids. That's someone's job. They know how to do it. They know where they should be. But for parents, I want something. Can we leave them with something if they're frustrated this fall and the kids are at home, they have to work from home? There's just a whole bunch of people in the house. I think that they need some kind of skill set.
Wow, you're asking me some tough questions.
Can we give them a do-it-yourself technique, Judi?
First of all, kudos to those single moms out there who have to do this work now. And you know what? It's like everything else in life. There's always something that we're going to have to deal with. And it's all about how to deal with adversity and how to deal with anxiety and how to deal with all of these things that we're going to encounter in this human existence. It's just the natural way of things. And the way we deal with them is what will either make us stronger or will devastate us. So, you know, that's
what you just said, though. Either make us stronger, and I've been saying that right now. I've been saying it's either win or die this time around. Either make us stronger or devastate, and that is 100% real. But then what about because you're a mama. I mean, like, I just cannot imagine. My kids are grown, so I can't imagine having small people in the house right now. Is there something that suggests, like, is there a breathing exercise a single mom can do?
Is there a breathing exercise?
I just want to give them something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, there is, just to center yourself and to become relaxed. You want me to do a little mini meditation?
Yes, absolutely.
With everyone?
Let's do it.
All right. So
turn your TV off.
Okay.
It's not on, Toriana.
Are we ready?
We're ready.
Ready.
All right. So let's just find a comfortable seat. Sitting with the feet rooted to the earth.
I remember that.
The spine is straight. The shoulders are down. The eyes softly closed. Let the back of your hands lightly rest on your legs, with the palms facing upward. The thumb and index finger touching. This is called Chin Mudra. It helps to regenerate the energy through the body. Become aware of the breath. Become aware of the coolness of the breath along the tip of your nose as you breathe in, and the gentle warmth of the breath along the upper lip as you breathe out. Feel the texture of the breath as you breathe in, and the softness of the breath as you breathe out. Continue to follow this gentle rhythm and flow of the breath, just as you would observe the ocean's waves, flowing, ebbing and flowing, having no beginning, having no end. And as you observe these things and as you observe your breath, begin to feel your body settling down. Begin to feel your muscles relaxing. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, feel the belly expand. Breathing out, feel the belly gently contract. No effort, just a gentle flow. Breathing in, feel the rib cage and chest expanding. Breathing out, feel the rib cage and chest contracting. Breathing in, become aware of the shoulders. Breathing out, feel all tension flowing from the shoulders now. Breathing in, become aware of the muscles that support the back. Breathing out, feel those muscles release all tension as the back of the body relaxes. And as we feel our bodies becoming very relaxed, repeat to yourself after me. May I be safe.
May I be safe.
May I be healthy.
May I be healthy.
May I be strong.
May I be strong.
May I be joyful.
May I be joyful.
May I be loved.
May I be loved.
May I give love.
May I give love.
I am love.
I am love.
And I am grateful.
I am grateful.
Continue to follow the breath. If you like, you can place your hands over your heart center and breathe into your heart all the peace, all the joy, the safety, the health, the well-being, and the love. Know that you are protected always. Guides and masters surround you and protect you. As you feel ready, you can slowly deepen the breath and open your eyes.
Wow. You're so awesome.
So are you. Thank you.
That was great.
Feel good?
I love you protecting the heart with your hand.
It's like a refresh button.
And everybody can do it.
Everyone can do it.
Yep.
Yourself.
Just sit quietly for a few minutes. It doesn't take a half hour. It can take 5 minutes.
Is that
and it will help.
Single moms can do?
Single moms especially. Not easy being in this situation these days with little ones.
You can just go in the bathroom, close the door, sit, because you need that peace. The mind needs that peace before these.
That's right.
And not dwell on the negatives all the
Right.
time.
And you know what I used to
Embrace
do?
the positive.
When my kids were little, I still do it now. I visualize them in a bubble of light, and that light protects them always. And I just see that. Power of visualization is a very strong thing to believe in.
For sure. That's real.
Yeah.
The power of visualization, 100%. Which
If everybody
did that, imagine what the world
would be like.
Mm.
We'd all be bubbles of energy bouncing off of one another.
Judi, I just want to hang out with you all day.
Hey, anytime.
Where can people find you? Where else can they go?
They can email me at Hamsa, JHAM, as in Mary, S as in Sam, A1 at AOL.com. They could also contact me through Yoga Alliance or Integral Yoga in New York.
And we're also going to share, we're going to add that she'll add that to your website and all your information.
Great. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. But I'm so glad you did this. I knew this was going to be the perfect way to go into the weekend. Like we needed this. So,
Good. I'll be sending some energy out to your mom.
Send energy to my mom.
Yeah.
Chanel, how you feeling? You good?
Good. Yep. Feel great.
Everything that you
Well, cool.
think about.
We shall see you all. Judi, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. See you again. Be well.
Can we bring you back in January?
Sure.
We're going to bring you back.
That'd be fun.
We're going to bring you back January 14th exactly to recharge the earth. Woo! Thank you. Everybody. Thank you, Chanel Nell, for your energy. Thank you to all our listeners. I just found out today that we're hitting 500 listeners per show. I want to thank everyone for having faith in us that we obviously we're doing something right. That's the universe working through us. We're just conduits. Toriano saying, only Wolfkeeper, peace and love is one alpha dog in that shoe. Go love somebody and love hard.
Blessings, you guys. Peace and love.
Peace.
Peace.
The Wolfkeeper show.